Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Angelika's Journal. Today we're going to be doing the instant coffee dyeing paper. Just a little update. Where did I put the other metal one? Oh, it's there. That's not going to help. I was using this for paper dyeing. And we went to the dollar store 2 days ago, and I found these. It's smaller and it's not as deep. I don't know if you can tell. That one's pretty deep compared to this one. This one is 11.7 by 9.3. Now, considering our paper is 8 or 11 by 8.5, this still should give me enough room all around. So I got it at the dollar store, and it was $1.50 right there. $1.50. If the camera ends up that way, there you go. Because I might flip it over, in which case it would go this way. You never know what I do. Anyway, so $1.50 and you get 2 of them, which is good because you really only need one. I am going to use this though with one of these racks. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm a clumsy one. All right, so this deeper one, I'm going to use this for my stencil papers. And I think what I'm going to do is here on the side, well, actually probably this side, the longer one, I'm going to put a hole and then put my stencil papers on here. And I'm going to put my blow dryer on this side on low. And so the warm air will go inside. Now on low, it's only warm, it's not hot. And then the warmth will go around in here and it'll dry my papers better. I think the reason why the stenciling has not been working is because I don't leave it together until it dries. I've been, I'll let it sit. I'll do that first and I'll let it sit. But then when I'm done everything else and I'm about to start cleaning up, I will then take the papers off the stencils and dry them in the oven. Where I'm thinking this way, I can dry it in place with the stencil and it might make a better print. So that's the goal for this one. I haven't made the hole yet. I'll show it to you when I do that later on. So now this will be for my instant coffee. Now the only papers I have in here is a whole bunch of printer paper because I'm going to do a whole bunch. And I'm going to do these differently because there's so many papers. And then I've got some watercolor paper here. I've got 5 sheets because we're going to use that as bases to make papers. It's slightly smaller than regular paper, but I'm okay with that. Because remember, you can always border it with something else. And then I've got my cardstock. These are the ones that are actual greeting cards. See that it's, yeah, you can fold it. And they have matching envelopes. So I got 5 cards and 5 envelopes. I got a bunch of the book pages, but this is the one that's the Robin Hood one. It's not as old. And so I just grabbed a stack. I don't even know if they're the right ones. And then I've got a bunch of index cards because those you can use as bases for other things too. So these are the only ones I'm going to dye today. Not as much variety, but lots of them. So I have my kettle on. And my kettle's already boiled. I just want to take this stuff out that I'm going to be using today for stenciling material. These I don't know. These are going to be testers. Hold on. All right, so my placemats. I love this doily. It turned out good. This carpet liner turned out really well. The stencils, I'd like to try them again. Whoops. Going to do the plastic canvas with the holes. It's not a very fine hole. It's small, but it's not as fine as some of the plastic canvas. And then the 4 placemats. So for coffee and tea, these are the ones I'm going to be using. I'll put them there. The rest of these, I don't think I'm going to be using this time around. So I'll put it aside for the acrylic. And there we go. So we have a few things here that I can use. Okay, my kettle has stopped boiling. It's hot. So once again, I am going to use a 1 liter measuring cup. And I am going to put in instant coffee. Now for 1 liter, I'm going to do half a cup of coffee. So this is the half cup. Won't fit in my jar, so I'll just have to shake it. Ooh, that's a lot of coffee, isn't it? Well, 1 liter is 4 cups, which would be, if you like strong coffee, it would be 4 tablespoons, right? There we go, 1 liter, 4 cups. Yeah, I think I am going to do the half cup. And if it's just too strong, you can always, don't leave it in as long. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just wanted to show you. There's the half cup. Put it in there. All right. Now we're going to use my spatula to stir. Ooh, that's dark. Can always add more water, or you can just don't leave it in as long. Like, you have options, right? So we'll see the results of this for the 1 liter hot boiling water to half a cup of instant coffee, just regular Walmart brand, nothing expensive, cheapest one you can find. And we will see how this turns out. So now we're going to pour it in here. Also this way, the 1 liter is going to be, higher up, because like the depth of it will be deeper. There you go, 1 liter. And the reason why, when you get near the end of your, try to put you in the center of the camera. The deeper it is, the more you can stack. If you want to stack a lot, it would make it easier. Now this first one is going to be stenciling stuff. All right, I'm going to start with the papers. Just plain printer paper. Good old printer paper. Now I do have a cleaning glove. I'm putting it on backwards because this one I only have one, the yellow. So this is actually the palm, not this, but I just flipped it around. Because I'm right-handed, the left, I'm going to push it down into the water. And when I flip it, I want to flip it this way. I don't know, I'm thinking it might be, boiling water might be too hot. See, another thing, because this is not as wide and tall as the other one, it's gonna keep the heat longer. So now this one I do in bunches. I do half the pack. I'm going to put it in there. Uh-oh. Oh, because of the rounded corners. And I thought this would work. Oh, because they have rounded corners. It's not square. All right, well, I guess I'm going to have to switch back to the metal one. All right, let's take this paper out. I found a Post-it note on the back of this one. Well, I didn't want a Post-it note. All right, so I'm going to wet that spot that didn't get wet. Oh, and I thought this would be better because, whatever. See, sometimes you try to plan it better and it just does not work out. Oh well, it was just coffee in here, so I'll clean it and I guess we can use it for baking. Or for smaller things, like if I'm just doing, oh yeah, because sometimes I'll just do like some index cards or some envelopes, in which case I could then use that. See, we're just gonna flip and look, cover, and then take a few and we're gonna make sure there's coffee on it, flip it. Okay, now we'll take a few from down below. And that's all we're gonna do is just keep grabbing a few and flip, grab a few and flip until you get to the point where it looks like everything is pretty much covered. And then we can start with the paintbrush, removing some and putting stencils. Now the ones that aren't going to be going through the stenciling process, those I will just end up taking them off layer by layer and sticking them in the oven to dry. All right, so that's the first half. All right, so now let's do some stenciling. All right, first sheet. See, and this is the hard part. I think I have 2 sheets here. But that's fine, because it is really hard to separate them at this point. See, this is why I can't use gloves. If I use my fingers, I would be actually able, gee, I can't even talk English anymore. See, there. If you do it right away, it's not that hard to separate. And then I'm going to put this one down first. And then I'll put the next paper. And then we'll do one of these carpet liners. Now you can see that I did not clean it after I did the last one. And that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. Some of the color will transfer over. And it could be fun, right? Instead of doing another carpet one, I'll do another doily. And then I'll do another carpet one. And these seem to be easier to separate too. See, it's no way perfectly on top of each other, but I'm okay with that. And I'm doing the placemats last because they're plastic and I don't want them to melt. So I'm doing the fabric one first. I can't separate, so I'm not going to worry. I did the fabric one first, then the stenciling one because they're a thinner plastic. Actually, these are plastic and the placemats might be vinyl, which is a heavier one, right? So I'm just going to interchange the two and pull the papers out. Then I'll put the next batch of papers in. And that next batch will be just plain paper that I'm going to start putting into the toaster. Oh, broke it a bit. Not the toaster, the oven. And the rest is pretty much the same as the other colors we did. The only difference is I will show you the opening on this one when I do the opening for the blow dryer, the hair dryer. Remember, I was going to do that for this one to see if it helps with the print of the pattern. Whoa, this one split completely down the middle. Oh well, it's all good. All right, I'll see you in a bit. I did the stenciling one. I just separated this because I got to make the hole. But I'm doing the second half of the stack of papers. And I just wanted to show you what I meant. So you see there, the water is low. I had to add some hot water to make the coffee water go further. And so all you do is separate and flip. And then this will go, and then you flip again. And you just keep doing that as many times as you need to. Whoop. Yeah, it will break apart. Don't forget, coffee is also acidic, right? So it breaks down the paper pretty quickly. But yeah, we just flip it. And then if there's a white spot on the top, flip the whole stack. And you just do that as many times as you need to, because by doing that, you are helping the paper absorb the coffee on all levels, right? So then, like at this point, I will just leave it. Now, when I dry this in the oven, I'll separate it into maybe, because I have 3 shelves, I'll do 3 stacks. So I'll separate it in 3 and put it on the 3 pans and put it in the toaster oven and then do 10 minutes. And then the first layer or 2 will be dry or damp, slightly damp. The edges will be dry, the middle will be slightly damp. So then you'll take it out and you'll spread it out. And then you flip the pile and put it back in another 10 minutes. And then you take the first couple of layers, flip it over, another 10 minutes. And every 10 minutes you just, tend to it in the oven, then stick it in for another 10 minutes. I find 10 minutes at 175 on the countertop toaster oven is perfect. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you the flipping way. It's another idea. It works for some, it doesn't for others. I've been ripping lots of papers, but like I said, this is, coffee is acidic, and I don't know that I'm going to have enough. Actually, I'm going to pull it out and put it on this to drip until I'm ready to do the oven, because I want to set up the stencil ones. So I will leave this. Oh, that's a bubble in there. See there? You can squish them too, and you'll see coffee come out of them. Not too hard, or you'll rip it like I do. But just push down on it, right? Push down. And you're going to see coffee coming out of it. See what's left? It's not enough. Actually, now everything is smaller. All the full-size sheets are done. So I could pour it in there. And then I think I'm going to make another cup. 1 cup of boiling water. And I think I'm going to put it with, we did half, so 1/8 of a cup of coffee, 1/8 of a measure. So if you take the quarter, do half of that of coffee, and then 1 cup of hot water. I'm going to have to make more because I still have the index cards, the book pages, the greeting card with its matching envelope. So I'm going to need more. But I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I'm on the other side of the counter where the folding table is, my drying spot. And I am just going to show you how I'm going to do this. I want it slightly closer to the bottom, but I want it in the middle. So I'll just go like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a rough estimate, right? Oh, a little bit higher than that. It's about up to there. Yep, that looks good. So now I'll take my X-Acto knife and let's see if I can do this. Oh yeah, it is aluminum, so it should break pretty easy. Look at this. It's working pretty easy. Now, if I mess this up and this does not work, remember, I bought it from the dollar store. It's only this one was $4, I think, because it also has a lid to it. And then the smaller one, which I won't do this with, it is $1.50, I think, or $1.75. There, I'm just flattening the metal so it doesn't poke me anytime in the future. Any metal pieces that are, because you can't cut straight, right? When you turn, it moves a bit. So you end up with these little pointy pieces. And I'm just going to flatten those. There. That looks good. All right, now, see, look at that. It actually goes in a bit, but I'm not going to push it in a lot. I want it to angle downwards, so I think this bottom part, I'm going to push the metal to the other side so that it has something to sit on. So basically, it's laying down. Now it's fatter here, thinner there. So by sitting it onto the part I folded out, it's not like a whole bit. It's just ever so slightly so that the bottom of the exhaust is on there. And that way it's not pointing up to the papers, it's pointing downwards. So it's going to hit the bottom before it goes up. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're going to do that. Right? And now I was thinking, like, look what it looks like. It's a pretty, that's all the paper that's on stenciling stuff. So it's a pretty hefty pile and it takes up the whole space. So there's nowhere for the hot air to come out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a few X's, push them out. Another X here. Careful you don't cut yourself. Hopefully there are no kids watching this, because you don't want, and the reason why I'm doing this is because it needs exit points, right? Now, when I'm done, like this is the first time I'm doing this. When this project is done today and tomorrow, because I'll use it for the tea bag too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these over into the inside. And then I'm going to put maybe, oh no, it's better on the outside. And then I was thinking of putting some tape. You know what I mean? So that this rough stuff, you don't cut yourself on it. Okay, I got one more. So I got two on that side, one on either side here, and then the blow dryer is here. So I got one more to do. Hopefully you can see me. So I'm doing an X one way and then an X the other way. Now don't forget, this is just aluminum. It's a little thicker than aluminum foil, right? Because it needs structure, but not much. Well, there we go. And in fact, this hole, I think I'm going to make it a little bigger. See, I can push with my finger and bend it. Like it's not, here, I'll show you with this one, because this one could be a little bigger too. Now, if you're watching, see, it actually, see that, it got bigger there, that gap. See, you can just bend it with your fingers. There. All right, so I am going to do this. Another thing I wanted to mention, I didn't mention earlier. Okay, so that's set up here. It's plugged in behind the counter. Now we're going to work with this. I'm going to slide you over here. Okay, so when you set this up, if you want to, feel free to push down on it. And in fact, I'm going to take it off of this tray, put it right on the folding table, and I'm going to push. And what that does is it makes it a tighter connection with the paper, and it gets rid of air bubbles, which is why the tighter connection. But you also squeeze out some of the coffee. There we go. Just an idea. Didn't end up much on the... Okay, now I don't like this. That was the plastic on that side. Okay, maybe I'll turn it around. Oh, that's the counter already. All right, so this is here. Now you do have to be careful. What I might do is start it on a cold setting, a cool setting. Just because I don't like this material and the plastic to be right on it. Okay, so now I'll put my hand on the other side. That's hot. That's cold. Okay, while I'm recording, I won't put it on. But I'll come back to you at the end when I'm done all the dyeing, and we'll see some of the results. I'm at the end now, and I just have my paintbrush under that side so that I can finish up these index cards. And that's one thing why I was hoping to find a smaller pan, is not only can you, the same amount of liquid ends up higher and you can do more papers, but at the end you could also, these grooves are smaller, the other ones are bigger, like deeper. Also you can tip it and just do your clothing label, index cards, invoices, whatever is smaller surface. You don't have to make more coffee. Now I'm still working with the same 1 cup that I had made extra from the 1 liter. I'm still working on that 1 cup, but I had transferred everything into this smaller pan, which really helps. So I just wanted to show you, this is why you start with the bigger papers when you have more liquid, and you do the smaller papers afterwards so you can soak up every last drop you can. Oh, 2 more and then I'm done with the dyeing, and there's not enough left, so I'm not going to put it in the fridge. Besides coffee, we always have coffee in the house. Coffee and tea are a staple. So there we go. I will dump this and I will dry everything. And when it's all dry, I will be... So most of the papers I have dyed now. And so these are the book pages, the envelopes, the index cards, and all of them. I wanted to share with you what these look like. And that is from the doily. The color got transferred over. And you can tell this is the carpet runner. And then this one is just from one of the racks. And when it's darker, it's because it was closer to the heating element. Here you can tell that this part was overlapped with another one. And these are the plastic bubble wrap, the big bubbles. They came through, but my method with the blow dryer that I had cut out from the aluminum pan, it did not work because you cannot dry multiple layers together. What happens, and I'll show you in a minute, the papers that are stuck together, whether it's just an edge or a corner, if they dry together, they're going to be stuck together. It's almost like the coffee glues it together. And I'll show you another example of that in a minute. So there's that one. Here, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we have this one. This is another one of the big bubble wrap. And that one's pretty simple. The stencils, some came through. See here again, you could tell that was close to the heating element. And here you can see some of the stencil. The stencils don't work that well. I think it would work better if I took one that is a lighter coffee dye, put the stencil on and then spritz it. That might work better. There was some here. I'm trying to find it. No, I can't find it. But some of them have pretty cool markings. Oh, another thing too. Oh, where did I put that one? I didn't separate it. Is it this one? See, here's another example. It's darker because it was closer to the heating element. But there is one that has if I find it, I'll show it to you on another video. Oh, here it is. This is not the, oh, here. See these splotches? And here's this one. Of course, this one was close to the heating element. That one was probably under it. But it also causes these things. Like if there's water pooled there and you put it in the oven with the pools of water, when it evaporates, it leaves these marks. And I just think they're so cool. So that's just a regular printer paper. Book pages. Okay, here's another example. When you overlap the papers together, the coffee will pool at the edge. And then when you go to separate it, these were okay. If they're dry, you cannot separate them. There was just one that had a bit of the other paper on it. Oh, here's some that are pretty bad. Yeah, here. You can see a little bit. The other paper that was touching it. Can you see that? It ripped the paper that was on top of it. See right here, you can tell there's another piece. See, there it came off. There was another one that dried on. So one of these pages are going to be missing some pieces to it. And that's what I wanted to show you with these index cards. If you remember earlier on this video, I was doing the last of the coffee for the index cards, and then I was stacking them on the tray like four side by side and then 3 across like that. Well, I had it with these papers and these envelopes. So that I did like all the envelopes, all the pages, and all the index cards. And I stuck it in the oven like that. Well, whatever paper was exposed, it dried quicker than the stack. Because each layer was keeping this part of it wet. It took longer to dry, but the edges dry quicker. And what ended up happening, I flipped it thinking the index cards are going to need more time because I had, like stacked them a certain way. But I figured with the papers, I could layer it off, then the envelopes. Well, what ended up happening, it ripped worse than anything else. Here, I've got a whole section here missing. And then there's some that are pretty bad. I have a lot that were okay. Oh, here you see, there's some paper. There's some paper. This is really thin because the back of it got ripped off onto something else. Like they turned out, some of them were fine. Like this one's fine. This one's fine. The lines are gone. Yeah, oh, here a little bit. But like some of them are really bad. So do not dry them layered like that. If you do it in the oven, it's fine. The top layer will dry first. See? Right there. The top layer will dry first and it'll separate from the next layer if you do it in the oven, a higher heat. But these were the ones I I had put the whole stack of them in the oven. And so, yeah, the upper layers were drying, but the bottom layer was drying too. And I didn't flip it. And so, yeah, I've got a lot of broken pieces. Now, I'm not going to throw these broken ones away because you can still use them. Like you could use it on a tag as part of a background, and then you stick something else over top of it, and only part of it, like it's an underlayer, so part of it will still show. Something like this too. I could use the back side of it, maybe cut this part that's thin off and just glue it onto another index card that has nothing on the back. No, that wouldn't be worth it. On a tag. Or you can cut this and even make this into a tag and then just, you know, decorate this side of it. Because it's only this side here. Anyways, you can do something with it. Like, you know, like it's not worth throwing it away. And like I said, I do have some good ones. Like, look at this one. This one looks pretty grungy. I could take some vintage photo and just color that. And then do something with it. Make an ephemera card or something. And then apart from that, we've got the cardstock and the watercolor paper. Oh, watercolor paper. Yes. Can you tell on any specific one? These. This is what I did with the salt. See how it's like that? And this one too, it's like that. And then these I had put oregano and basil on. Just to get some spotting like that. That's another thing you can do is use some spices. Doesn't smell like it anymore, but when I first took it out of the oven, it smelled so nice. Yeah, it doesn't smell oregano and basil anymore. Oh, wait a minute. Whoops, sorry. This was the salt, but I think the oregano, yeah, it was done on these, on the cardstock. Oh, you can tell the envelopes. Look at the marking it left. The envelopes did that. Here. This looks like maybe plain coffee or salt. Nothing other than that. Oh, I think the first one I just stuck on there. And then this one, oh yeah, this is the oregano and the basil. Here you can actually, on these, you can actually see some specks still on there. Like you can scrape them off. They're like little specks still on it. See, they come off. They still smell a little bit like basil and oregano. But look at the pretty patterns it made. That one. And that one. Even on the back. Because I had put one down. I sprinkled it. I put another one on top and sprinkled. So when you sprinkle, it's touching this side and the back of the other one. So, yeah. They made some cool patterns. Anyway, so these all have to be ironed now. I'll check how long the video is. If it's too long, I'll just go ahead and post it. If not, then I will show you after they've all been ironed. Okay, we are the next day now. And I finally got it all done. I'm just going through the ironing process. Actually, I'm going to take this away. I'm just doing all the ironing right now, and I pulled out some of the ones I wanted to share with you. Actually, you need to come a little closer. There. Because I wanted to show you how they turned out. Now, a lot of them are just plain paper, but the stencils, I wanted to show you. Now, this is the brick. I don't know if you can tell. It's the stencil with the bricks. You can tell better on this side. And then this one looks like it's animal print, I believe. And that one turned out pretty nice. Or it could be just circles or hexagons. Not hexagons, because I only have one and it's bigger than that. So this one again, it looks like circles, hexagons. No, not hexagon. Animal print. And then this one was the Paris with the two opposite or corners, the lacy thing. It turned out really nice. And then this, okay, now this one I kind of, you can see it a bit on this side, but it's mostly on this side and it's backwards. It's the stencil that said welcome. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. So on this side, it's backwards, but on the other side, you can barely see it. So I think what the issue here is, I put the stencil down with it facing me when I put it down, so I can see welcome. But it's not that page that's going to take the print. I think maybe it's the paper you put on top that will take the print, which is why the better print is backwards. Because if you have, we'll use a book page as an example. Okay, there's writing on here saying this is a stencil, and you put paper on top, right? So that imprint is going to go onto the back of it. But then when you turn it around, it becomes the mirror image, if you get what I'm saying. So I think it's the paper on top that sits on top of it. So take note of that. I will too. That if you want to do a stencil that has writing on it, or you want it to look exactly the same, put it on backwards and then your paper, so that when you turn over the paper, it becomes the, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to mention that. That's the chevron. Turned out pretty good. This is the mandala. It shows mostly on this corner, not so much on the rest. So I don't know how it's going to turn out on video. This one looks like the hexagon. That's the right size. And on the top here, you can see the hexagon shape better. This is the hexagon, the one that I use for the honeybee. I usually use the stencil and do yellow, and then I'll put some bees on it. That's the honeybee one. This one turned out right. But both sides, no, this side, oh, it's because I had put it closer to the burner. I wanted to mention that, and this is a good example of that. I don't know if it shows how dark it really is, but when you have it close to, like, as you know, I use my toaster oven. And so I use the pan on the drip pan on the bottom, and then the two racks. So I have 3 levels. Now, whatever I put on the top level is closer to the upper element. And so it actually, it's like toast. When you toast your bread, it's the heat that then cooks, you know, like the heat, it's almost the steps towards burning, but it pops up before it burns, right? So it's the same with the heating element in the oven. If you have it close to the top, it will come out darker. And there you go. This one turned out perfect. Now, like I said, I always put it so that the writing is towards me. And this time it did work, because the other side you can see it also, but it's not as strong. But that could be because I had it closer to the heating element. So that's something else to take into consideration. And then this one is just another abstract. This one is very faint. It's hard to see. But this was the fake writing with the super big stamp over here, like the wax stamps, but it's like a super big round one, and then it's all faux writing. So the writing did not come through, but the stamp very slightly came through. You can see it a bit on this side too. It came through, but very, very slight. And then this is the plastic canvas one. Now, after baking it and ironing it, it shows a lot better. I really love this one. I think I'm going to do more with that plastic canvas. I don't know how many I have. I know my mom started projects, so a lot of them have yarn in it, but it's not completed. So I'll see if I can pull out some more of these, and I'll put this in with my dyeing supplies. All right, and then the next one is this one. Now, I wanted to also share with this dyeing one. I was looking for this one. Can you see it on camera? This is the doily, right? It's folded in half. This is the doily that I used on all of them. Now, I don't see that doily pattern on anything here. This is the carpet runner, and that's the carpet runner, and that's it. I don't see the doily, so I'm wondering if it's this. But there's no pattern to it. So what I was thinking, see, this is the carpet runner. This is to prevent your carpet from slipping. This is a scrap I had. This is another doily, which I don't see on any of these. Now, I did use this. This was that pretty light blue, turquoisey blue satin with the textures. And then here's the green with the textures. And those pages are coming out. This is the plastic canvas. This is the one with the bigger holes. They do have one with smaller holes. This is a needlepoint type. The holes equal to a needlepoint. Now this is what I was getting at. This is burlap. I have 2 pieces of burlap. And it has that green on it. So, oops, my iron's still on. It's hot. So what I'm thinking, I'll put these all away, that these could be the burlap, because there's the brown, the green, and because they're random holes, it could be why they're like random, the splotchiness. Do you know what I mean? I think it's the burlap. And then these lines are from the rack, which is this rack. Do you remember I had put this rack with all these layered, and I had put the blow dryer in the tray underneath? Well, that blow dryer method, it excuse me, it helped to dry it partially, but it did not dry it that well. And I'm not going to be doing that again. Because when the papers get stuck together, which this was also on that rack, and as you see what happened here, we'll talk about again in a minute. Anyway, so I think it's the burlap that was this. And I think it's gorgeous. Like, I love using burlap. It might not show the holes, but look what happens when it goes through. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is so beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And then the back side is more white. I could have flipped it over and baked it on this side. And this one, like that, is so cool. Now this is the carpet runner, the carpet piece. This side's lighter. Oh, actually it shows darker on the camera. And then there's this with the carpet runner. But think of it, this is the carpet runner, and I had done the 2 consecutive ones. And there was no dye on the carpet runner, was there? Oh, yes, there was a bit. But it could have been from this. Because I'm trying to think. I don't think I used the carpet runner. Oh, yes, I did on all of them. Yeah, okay, never mind. Anyways, so those I really, really like. And I think it has to do with the burlap. So that's a positive. That's a great thing to use. Okay, and then these, well, these I'm not very impressed. This was the bubble wrap, but the big bubbles. Now, something I have to mention, because it was not a flat surface, it was the pockets of bubbles. And so there was divots in between the bubbles. And then you layer more things on top. And this is what happens. Around the bubbles, you will get small tears. Now, I've already ironed this. And look, there's like tears in here. There's all over tears. So I don't advise using the big bubble wrap. The small one might be okay. But make sure that it is the size of your paper. Because it's plastic, there's no airflow. And so it just sits in the moisture and weakens the paper, right? So if you push down on it or something like that, or you pull it up and it's kind of stuck because it's partially dry, it's going to wreck the paper. So do not, my suggestion is don't use the big bubble wrap, use the small one, but make sure it's the size of your page. Anything plastic you use, make sure it's the size of your page. And this is like a couple layers after that one. These turned out okay, and you can tell these are the results of the bubbles, the bubble wrap, the big bubble. Like these were directly on them, but this was somewhere in between or further down or something. And this one ended up really nice. Like I love the way that looks. So bubble wrap can be used. Oh, there is a little rip right here. Oh, here a little bit too. So bubble wrap can be used, but maybe if you cut it down to this size and don't push down on it and make the pockets on the under, so the top, because one side of the bubble wrap is a flat plastic and the other side are the pockets. It's not flat. So maybe if I turned it around, it wouldn't hold on to moisture, and then maybe it wouldn't have done as much damage. That's something to consider for next time. Now this is the other bubble wrap, the small one. But for some reason, it only shows up here. There's one spot there, and that's it. Oh, it might be one here. It didn't really show up on here, so I don't know what happened there. Oh, it looks like it's pitted, which means there must have been salt. Some salt went through. Now, these guys are the fabrics I wanted to try, these. The green and the satiny blue. Now, you do get a texture out of it. But when I ironed it, I did a quick iron. I didn't do a heavy iron. Because if you're going for texture, you don't want to lose that texture. You iron it flat and the texture is gone. Yes, there'll still be a bit of pooling. Oh, you can't see it so much on that side. There will be a bit of pooling of the coffee, of the dye, but not a whole lot. Like here, this one shows the pooling of the coffee. So you still get the texture, but you don't want to actually lose that texture. So when you iron it, you know, like, don't iron it as much. But they did work, so these are a keep for stenciling. And I did show you the rack, right? This rack. This is the one that does the square. Now the other one that I have is similar to this one. You know, where there's just lines and then there's one or two going across. These come up as lines. If you use a rack like this, it comes up as squares. Like if you look at this one, see how it's squares? That one was definitely an imprint from this rack. And of course, it's darker on one side than the other. Why? Because that was closer to the heat. But this imprint was done from this. And then, you know, like I was peeling off the layers, the stencils, were all on here. So the one that touches this will get this imprint. Maybe I could have done a second one, like 2 layers even on here. And then you do stencil paper. And I do that first. And then at the end, when I've done all the other papers and I've done them through the oven and they're all dry, this is all that's left. And then I take this to the toaster oven and I start peeling off the layers. And like the stencil will go in the sink, the paper goes in the oven. Stencil in the sink, paper in the oven, that kind of thing. And so this was the last one on here. And it was probably sitting like an hour. And it took the imprint of this rack. Even though this does not fit in my oven, I did not put this rack in the oven. I have racks like this one. But it still kept the imprint. Why? Because it had been sitting on here long enough to take the imprint. So, you know, sometimes you got to be patient and just let it be. Now, put all this away. These are all good. The doilies do work. I just guess with coffee it wasn't as noticeable. Could be because I was in a huff too. I just wanted to hurry up and do these. Okay, now these are the result, just blotchy results. So there's a white blotchy. I have no idea why that one's a white blotchy, but it is. It's not a handprint where I pushed down, so I don't know. This one is salt. I did do the salt and I did do the coffee. This one was the salt, and this one I had put a lot of salt, but very scattered. And then this is probably the second page of a salty one. It has some pattern to it. This one has a little bit of a pattern on this side, but not very much. So that's the third layer. So it does go through. This one looks also like salt. Now, if you don't like the dark color, look at the back side. Same blotches, but it's a lighter. So that means this was closer to the heating element. And yes, it did rip. Doesn't matter. We can still use it. Now, this is just plain. You know, a quick coffee dye. Don't leave it in long. Pull it out. Don't have it close to the heat. So it's not white. It's just like a beigey white, like an ivory. No, not even an ivory. It's a very light beige. And then some other blotchiness that came through that I don't know how I created it. But it happens. And I think they're pretty cool. I don't know why they happened. I'm thinking the paper was in water too long and it started wrinkling the paper. And then when I put it on the layers, like multiple pages together, it was just pooling within the wrinkles. And then when I ironed it, the wrinkles came out. Not wrinkles, but like it kind of like a wave like that. And I think when I ironed it, it took it out. But it left light and dark because that's where the coffee was pooling in between the divots. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share those with you. Another thing I wanted to share quickly, and then we're done. This one thing. Now, you remember how I said these all stuck together? Well, last night, I was sitting watching TV and thinking about the day, which is what I do a lot. And I started thinking, you know what I could have done if I wasn't in such, like, oh my God, like, how could this happen? Like, in a huff. What I could have done was re-wet it. If you wet it, the coffee won't be, like, the coffee is sticky whether it's wet or dry. Even when it's dry, it's not sticky, but it's already done the job. Coffee is a very sticky kind of, thing. But what you could try, and I will in the future, is when I do have them stuck together like this, I'm going to squirt. Oh, look, it's dry and now it comes apart. Maybe I should have just put it clump and all into the toaster oven, because it seems like once it's thoroughly dry, it just peels off. No, not all of them. That one didn't. No. No. So anyways, I just wanted to mention, maybe if you have this issue, re-wet it. Just where the overlap is, re-wet that area. And then let it soak it into the paper enough that you can peel it apart and take it apart. It could be that those certain parts had started to dry, and maybe that's why I had the problem. Anyways, that's everything with the coffee dye. That's all my results. I'm pretty happy with the results. I love all these different patterns and everything. I have a whole stack. I still got a bunch of ironing to do. That's what I'm going to do today and tomorrow and possibly Monday. And these, well, I'll iron them and then I'll just stack them in a pile or put them in a container. And then I'll just use them as needed, the damaged ones, as it calls for. So next week we're going to do tea dyeing. We're going to do the orange pico, which is a black tea. We're going to do, I bought some green tea because I don't drink green tea, but I thought we'd try green tea. And we'll see the results of the green tea. And then if it is green, like it says, green tea, then I won't do the peppermint and I'll just do chamomile. But if it does not turn out green, we may still try the peppermint and then the chamomile. And then after that, we've still got the RIT dye, the acrylic dye, and the eco dye, which is the food items. So next week we're going to do teas. I hope you enjoy these videos. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And share it with a friend if you think they would enjoy it. And also do what makes you happy, and everything else will fall into place. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.